Hey guys, welcome back. So this is going to be part 2 on this Honda CB900 motorcycle slash lawnmower trike contraption thing. So in the first video we picked this thing up and found out that the brakes were completely trash on it. The clutch was completely seized and corroded, which filled the whole engine up with all kinds of junk and corrosion. Also, there was a lot of corrosion up here on the valves and cams. So you got all that taken apart, carbs cleaned and everything. All that's in part 1. If you haven't seen that video yet, I will link it in the description, so be sure to check that out. So I picked up some new parts here. Well, not new, but some used ones. I got some new calipers off eBay. Also a used clutch off eBay, which I'll have to clean that up a little bit, but the pads look pretty good. Oil filter, air filter, gaskets, shifters, stuff like that. So one thing that I did find on this engine is I believe this is bracket gear for the RPM gauge. I'm going to go ahead and take these bolts off and remove this because I'm not going to actually use that. So let's go ahead and get started on that. These are pretty tight. So here's a good look at this gear and also the cam bearing, which does look really nice. So this should just slide out. There we go. I was just worried about this maybe getting bound up with the cam with a crack like that. I know I should just probably get a new piece, but oh well. Alright, so while we're waiting for that epoxy to dry, let's go ahead and get this valve cover gasket put together. So if you have a gasket like this that just kind of lifts off and doesn't want to stay and you have to put it back on, just take a very small dab of super glue in some of the areas, just a small little dot, put the gasket, and that way just do that in a couple areas around it and that will keep it from falling off when you go to reinstall it. So now you can hold it upside down and the gasket's not going to fall off. Some oil on all these cam lobes. Well, that ain't good. Looks like some of these are stripped out. Alright, I did swap the hardware out and I believe that is working. Just a little bit of a coarser thread. Using the regular 10mm threads, it was just stripping out. Yeah, those are holding good. Alright, let's go ahead and get this oil filter installed here. I did label these, but they do have numbers on them for like in order here. So the way this thing fires is 1, 2, 3, and then 4. What are you guys doing, huh? You can hold these all over you. Hey. Okay, kiss and make up. So this is a used clutch that I bought off eBay, and it looks to be in decent shape. It just has like this dust residue all over it, I guess from sitting in the shop or whatnot. Has it on these parts, so I'm just gonna go ahead and dip these in the ultrasonic cleaner for a little bit. You can kind of see like the residue of it on there. Should clean it right up. So while we're waiting on that to cook and get some of this corrosion residue that's built up on here, get that cleaned off. Alright, so I believe next is this conical washer. And then our retainment plate. When you put this retainment plate on, make sure you align this with that groove right here. Then we have our nut here. Bend our tab. Our springs. Alright, I think we are ready for the cover. I'm just going to put a little bit of gasket spray on this clutch cover gasket, since I am reusing it. new air filter installed. This one didn't even have a filter in it. I believe it goes up like this. Then you have this thing. Kind of a weird air filter design. Let's try it like this. Yeah, that's how it goes, I think. There's our shifter. Okay, so now that we got the clutch and everything installed, let's make sure that this thing's going to be able to stop. Let's go ahead and get these brakes fixed on it. So I'm just kind of curious if it was clogged up in this proportioning valve here, because I could not get any fluid to flow through these lines. And that looks like there's my answer. That thing is completely rusted. Yeah, so that's why I wasn't able to get any fluid to flow. This one's pretty bad also. It's just all just rusted up. Alright, just throw these away. So before we install these new calipers, I want to go ahead and grease up the pins or the slides on them. Since we don't have any rear brakes, I want to make sure these things work very well. So they got some grease in them. That's actually pretty good. I'm just going to add a little bit more. They don't really need much. This will prevent the calipers from sticking, which will cause uneven brake pad wear. So yeah, these things slide nice and smooth now. These brake pads are pretty much like brand new looking. There's a ton of life left on them. So I just found out that these new caliper brackets are different than these old caliper brackets, but they will still actually fit because the calipers are the same. So I guess we lucked out on that. get this grip taken off. Oh, what is this stuff? Man, this stuff smells like crayons. It's like tar and crayons smelling. That stuff's nasty. Alright, clutch works, brake works, brakes work. Awesome now. Alright, I think it is time to get this gas tank installed. Let's see if this thing will actually crank up and run. Alright, let's fill this thing up and see if we got any fuel leaks. Alright, let's fill to the top. So the wiring is just, I have no idea how they started this thing because the wiring's just kind of all messed up, and the actual push button wires are completely disconnected here. But for testing purposes, I'm just gonna bypass it and just arc those terminals. Get our ground wire hooked up here. She is ready to run. Alright guys, here goes nothing. Ooh, got it in gear. Should be it. You need a little bit more juice. Alright, got our BTO Man jump starter hooked up. Let's give it some choke here. Sounds like we're not getting spark. Cranked right up, man. Has ignition on accessory. Set this idle on here. Alright, I think I got the idle set a little bit more. It's kind of hard to set on this thing. Oh man, this thing is so stupid. I got the oil burning off there. Not really smoking or anything though. Alright, let's go ahead and get this thing all put back together and see if we can take it for a little ride. Alright guys, I think we are ready. Yeah, just in case. Let's take this thing for a cruise. Man, that thing would just break the rear tires loose. Oh man. Out. They work good. Man, this thing will get up. So if this thing is going to resemble any kind of lawnmower or lawn tractor, we got to put it to work and see what it can actually do. So let's see if we can pull some of these logs here. Well, all right, I'd say that was no problem. Well, all right, guys, this thing is an absolute beast. Actually, definitely a death trap. This thing is pretty scary, but it is a lot of fun. And I really should have been wearing a helmet, especially with it being wet out. But yeah, I appreciate you guys hanging out with me and working on this old crazy piece of junk contraption. It is definitely something else. I think I'm actually going to leave the mower deck part off of it because I don't want it catching on something and then like causing me to get in an accident. So I'm just going to kind of leave that off. But if I do take it to like some kind of, you know, festival or something like that, I'll put it on just kind of for looks. It would be cool to put an electric motor under it and actually be able to cut some grass with it. That would be pretty awesome. Yeah, not only that, these tires are pretty sketchy, so I don't want to really go any faster than I did, but this thing will definitely get up and go. So I think that's all the crazy driving that I'm going to do with it. But again, I appreciate you guys hanging out with me, and I will see you guys on the next video. Later.